bar.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear, and brought Galerno in. We got some news this week that we're going to share with everybody, and I kind of, for those who follow the podcast, I apologize. I took a bit of a week off and didn't release anything last week. And I know I follow a lot of pods, Kev. I think you do too. And when I get into a podcast and they come out every week on Wednesday or whatever day it is, even if it's off by a day, that's fine. But I look forward to it. And I was thinking about that. Not that I've got a bunch of fans that are like looking forward to my pod every week, but I was like, oh man, I kind of felt lazy on that. But I want to bring you in, Kevin, kind of chat, catch up, see how things are going. But how you doing? How's everything going with you?
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. Yeah. Summer's coming to a close. It felt like a short summer because it didn't feel like we got going until the end of July.
I know. Well, because we kind of didn't.
Because we didn't. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. That's why.
Because this thing called COVID got us. But yeah, for those who don't know, we up here in Canada, we didn't. Rinks were shut down till I think middle of June. We were able to get like the NHL guys and pro guys back on the ice, and then literally minor hockey didn't get back on till July. Middle of July. So we had definitely a condensed short summer for sure. Numbers were limited as well, so it was a little bit different than kind of what we ran before. But yeah, how's fatherhood? How's Benny doing? How's
good,
all that?
Man.
Yeah.
You hit the year milestone. So it's been good.
How much more fun is it though as a dad going from like month 1, 2 to like year?
At least he's
1?
like wheeling around a little bit.
Yeah,
not wheeling around, but like moving around and able to walk around a little bit. Yeah. And so we'll be at the park playing soccer this weekend because he's like able to stand up. Yeah.
Oh, he's on the treadmill already. He's getting ready for that hockey season. Yeah.
And your guys?
Yeah, they're girls? Good. Yeah, everyone's good. Yeah, everyone's good. I mean, it's been a bit of a grind. For those who don't know, I got COVID, and that was awesome. And I don't know for anyone who's had COVID, and I don't want to get political on this at all, but I'm double vaxxed, and I was at the rink working with players, and a college kid ended up, I think, having it, didn't know he had it. I ended up getting it. I'm not even 100% sure if that's where I got it, but ended up feeling like kind of a little bit stuffed up, cold, whatever. Went in, got tested just because we were coming in on Monday, and I was like, I'll get tested before we come in. And sure enough, it took 2 days for the test to come in, but it came in positive. So the worst part about it is you got to let everybody know that's been around you. So like notifying, people that were at a pool party, people that are at a dinner, whatever, guys I worked with. So that was nuts. And then, up here, the rules are a little bit tighter. So I ended up putting like probably 20 or 30 families in quarantine, which was brutal. But as far as COVID itself, like it wasn't that bad. It was kind of like I would have worked through it 2 years ago, no problem. I would have went to work, kind of no problem. And then
not discounting what some people get.
No, 100%. No, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, and I think everyone gets affected by it differently. I believe that the vax probably helped a little bit. You know what I mean? Probably.
Do you know which one what you got?
No, so they did tests on it, and I got either like the normal COVID, like the regular strand, or the Delta variant, I guess. They ruled out a couple other variants because I didn't test for those. Like they didn't, when they sent it away for extra testing, I was negative on a couple different variants.
If it was the normal one, that would be extremely low percentage.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's probably the Delta, yeah. And both my kids got COVID as well. So my kids both tested positive. I tested positive. My wife tested negative. And then we kind of stayed away from each other a little bit, like even with the kids. We masked a little bit in the house and just kind of spent a lot of time outside. But we had to kind of get locked in for like 10 days basically in our yard. So that was hard on the kids, man.
Awesome way to finish summer.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. They were troopers, but it was a grind for sure, man. So yeah, I got through that, and now we're kind of on the other side of that, which is good. Everyone's out of quarantine now and kind of moving around, which is good. So but yeah, and then like even for you though, like for people, like because everyone goes through this a little bit differently, obviously, and like you said, some people obviously it hits them way harder and hospitalized, and it's brutal. But even for you, you didn't feel good for a couple of days, kind of felt like shit. One got tested, and you came back negative twice. You were fine, like you were able to move around and kind of stay in society.
Still had my like whatever week and a half of being at home, just waiting. Yeah. It was. I don't mean this way it sounds, but like you affected me, so I was at home, and like mentally, if I was the person putting someone else out, it would have been way harder just to know that like other people are kind of locked up because
you feel like a heel, like you're texting people.
There's nothing you could have done.
No, totally. And everyone overall like super understanding about it. I'm sure behind closed doors, people were pissed they had to go to quarantine. And I 100% get it. But overall, everyone was great and like, hey, how you feeling? How you doing? Whatever. But yeah, I was like, it's out of your hands. And then you don't really know. And then once young kids start getting tested, because both my kids were pretty much symptom free. Like on a normal day, we'd have been like, you guys are fine. Just we'll have a good sleep tonight. We'll be fine tomorrow. And they were fine. Like there's nothing really major at all with them. So I would never got them tested, right? But once more kids got tested, we found more kids positive. And then the next thing you know, there's a lot of kids wheeling around probably that are asymptomatic that are positive. So when stuff like this happens, more people get tested and then you get more positive results. And then, exactly. So
glad we're on this side of it now.
Well, yeah.
Even though it wasn't crazy bad, it's still kind of
definitely
crappy to go through.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I guess, overall, how have you found this summer? Like, I know it's been different as far as numbers, as far as all that kind of stuff, but how have you found the kids and the parents overall just being able to get back in the rinks and kind of, and it seems like we're going to have a bit of a normal hockey season coming up this year, which is the first time in 2 years, basically, where it's going to potentially be like a normal start. How have you found the kids and the parents? Have they been like appreciative of the fact that we're going to be getting back to it?
I think just like as a whole, you always get those anomalies, but as a whole, everyone's just excited to be out and have their kids somewhere and be able to drop them off for a day, or, you know what I mean? A 4 or 5 day camp every day, just whether we did some outdoor camps before we could get in the rink. And then now that we're in the rink, like I think as a whole, just appreciative that their kids are out and doing an organized event for a day or week.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I remember
you were probably the same with like sending, your kids did some different things over the last few months, and probably the same way. And they were probably excited to have somewhere to go.
Totally.
Like it was, and obviously just on the work side, we're excited to be back to work.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely.
Yeah. I'd say if you had to say one word, like just appreciative, most parents.
Yeah. No, and I like even so we did outdoor camps, which we've never done before, but we had no access to ice. So we're like, why don't we do like an outdoor kind of skills camp, hockey, just fun. And so we had this property in London that we used. It was awesome. And we ended up running it. It was great. But I remember the first day, like I drop off, there was more than one parent's like, thank you for running something.
Yeah, totally.
Just like, thanks for taking my kids for the day. And it was awesome. The kids were outside all day. Like it ended up working out really, really good. But it was nice to get back to the rinks. And I think you're right. Now that it's been taken away a little bit for, on and off for a while now, I think most people are pretty appreciative to be able to get back on the ice. You still have your AAA kids and stuff like that are on a different level as far as, they're intense still and, pissed off when they miss tournaments and can't play spring games and all this stuff. But overall, I think
as a parent that loses, access to that stuff because of the shutdowns, like access, I mean, to like being able to send your kids to daycare or camps or whatever. Like I'm the same way as like with TPH. I'm like, I have an appreciation for summer camps. Like maybe in the past there's been times where like, summer's really dragging on or whatever. And I have an appreciation for like, I'd throw in another week of August here. I'll do another, you know what I mean? We'll do another week. No problem. Yeah. Like it was, and especially looking at, some of the stuff you read and hear right now, you're like, please let's not get shut down again. Like just keep going. Like you want to put in some long days, some long weeks and months. Let's keep doing that. Like I don't want the alternative. And I think until you've seen the alternative, I never thought about it before. I know, took it for granted almost. So.
Yeah, it is nuts though. Like everyone's talking about it now up here in Canada and Ontario that we may get locked down again. Like, and everyone's talking about this Delta variant and it's popping off. And I think hopeful that the hospitals aren't getting overwhelmed again and that we can obviously keep going. But that's always a fear, man, and that's the crazy part.
It wasn't always a fear. It's been now it is.
Yeah, the last
like
year and a half, 2 years.
Now it is an actual fear.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
Please no.
Yeah, no, it's brutal, man.
We're not going to get into the people that want it. That like want a little break.
Yeah, because some people are like fist pumping every time we get locked down. They're getting full salary working from home. Like, it's great. It's awesome.
Well, we won't do that.
The best is when you hear people say like, this, I know it's hard on so many families, but it's been great for my family. Like my husband and I both work from home. We still both have our jobs and like, shut up. Like you're talking to this other person who just lost their jobs or whatever. And it's like, really? Like you guys are making more money now. It's great. You're not spending any money.
More time in your hands. Like, but
tell me though that all this like lockdown and all this kind of stuff wasn't like a stress test on families and like financially and on businesses and all that stuff, right? Like I was talking to somebody just the other day about he was playing over in Europe and just like being, because they got locked down from school, so the kids are home and the routine gets all messed up, obviously, even for the hockey guys or whoever, it doesn't matter, people all over the place. But how hard it is to be like, have your 4 people always in the house or always around, or you know what I mean? Like just how difficult that is. And some people were great and it worked out fine. Not to say you didn't have your fights and your arguments and stuff, but overall it was good. but I know a lot of people that it was like not good. It was not great for the marriage or the family life.
Totally. And I had we had a baby, so it was not crazy. You know what I mean? They couldn't give attitude. Like they act how they act. They had no difference. But like even kids your age and as great as they are,
oh man,
some
100%.
of those days could have been
for
little, little hot.
Yeah, sell them,
little
man.
hot
Sell them.
inside
Totally.
the house.
Yes.
Especially during those winter months when you're like,
oh yeah,
you can't just pop outside all the time and poof.
Yeah, no, it was tough, man. Yeah, because there wasn't a lot to do, so it was hard on them. Like that, every lockdown we had, it takes everything away from the kids, right? From downhill skiing to hockey to whatever, soccer, gymnastics, anything. So, yeah, that's a grind, man, for the kids for sure, and the parents obviously. You got to figure out what to do with them, which is always not easy. A couple things I wanted to chat about too, though. We're getting into the season coming up here, obviously soon, and I want to share some news with everybody here in a minute as well, but. One thing that happened in every year this happens, but kids go into like kind of that U14, U13, that band we call it now, it's changed to U13, but that body checking, right? So coming out of kind of right around 12, 13 years old, they get into body checking. And I know here, and this is something we talked about before that I want to chat about a little bit, but like the kids need to take a mandatory body checking clinic, which I think is great. And I view body checking as another skill. You know, you learn how to stick handle, that's a skill. Learn how to skate, that's a skill. Body checking is a skill. And some kids suck at it. Like, and some kids are scared of it, and that's fine. Some kids are 6 foot, some kids are 4 foot. Like there's a bunch of discrepancies at those ages as well with all that stuff. But literally, man, most of the minor hockey organizations, 1 hour check-in clinic. And I know before COVID, it was like jam as many kids on the ice. So there'd be 50 kids on the ice,
50 kids.
1 hour.
Oh.
And you're good to go. It baffles me, man. And I know, like, there's a lot of hockey businesses that do this, but we run like a 3 hour check-in clinic, and it's 3 consecutive days where you learn how to like take a hit, give a hit, all this stuff, and kind of go through angling.
And the progression
on
those days is crazy.
And you know, we just ran one, and obviously you ran it, but how much better, or how much more confident, I should say, are these kids, and even better at checking? But over those 3 days, this hour thing, man, it's like. I don't get it. Like, as a parent now, I know my kids like years away from this, and I hope that we're going to be able to work on this stuff when they're like 10 and 11 and 12 and get them prepared for it. But this 1 hour, just go out, check, learn how to check, and whatever, and then you're good to go.
Arguably the most dangerous skill in the game. You're saying, well, and none of these parents would be like, "Hey, my kid's got to get in the power play. He's got to take a one-timer this year to make the team." You know, he's got to be able to hit the one timer to make his team. 50 minutes ought to do it, and now he's going to make that team.
Right.
Like, not one of them would say he's got to get faster and to make this team. He's got to do this and then say that's going to be okay. But yeah, then everyone's like checking clinic 50 minutes in and out. And it's not the parents' fault necessarily. They're just doing what they're told.
Yeah.
They don't know in a lot of cases. Like the association says 1 50-minute mandatory session, like you said. There's 30, not right now, but in years past, like 30, 40, 50 kids sometimes. Like we've all been out there. You got 2 coaches just running drills where they're hammering each other, you know, and it's unbelievable to me. And it's dangerous. Yeah. And the kids aren't like confident with it right away. So they're not like even hitting each other at first. They're just like, and they're hitting their buddies in some cases. So they're nervous. But the progression that you can see in that might be some of the fastest of any skill. You know what I mean? Even over 3 days.
Yeah, like, for sure. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like, kids have been shooting forever. It's going to take some time to like change those habits and get them to shoot differently. Going to take some time to like make them a little bit faster. You know, they're going to ultimately going to have to do some on ice stuff if you want to get faster, whatever. But like with the call it checking, you can get a lot better pretty quick just by like doing it a bunch of times and having someone say, well, this is why you missed him. Well, we're going really slow, but if he was going fast, you know, that one would have hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Like totally. Things like that. And I think if you said to you know, to make it longer, like we have the ice, so we were able to go 3 hours, but unfortunately there's no one that's going to say, hey, we'll take out one of the exhibition games and we'll add an extra check-in clinic. We'll take off an exhibition game at the end and add a check-in clinic at a second check. Yeah. Nobody's going to do that. So it's unfortunate that they won't do that. Yeah. But so I don't know what the fix is other than more ice and more time. Yeah. But it's a really tricky spot. And for parents that are thinking right now, like, oh man, there's ways to get extra help. You know what I mean? You can sure. do extra things or lots of check-in clinics out there, even some small group stuff. And hey, can you spend 30 minutes on some angling? Because that's basically what it is, and stuff like that. There's ways to get better at it. And it's also not one of those things that's like you do it right before your tryouts in minor Bantam and then you're good. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, when's anyone ever done a check-in clinic? Everyone always does their acceleration program, their shooting program, beginning of the year, end of the year, during the year, summer, all the time. And then you do one 50-minute check-in clinic and you're good.
Right.
Nobody else.
Here's your certificate.
And now have seen more and more over the years, like second year bantams come back and which is awesome. And this year, I think especially there's been more because, they didn't get hitting last year, which is great, but trying to brush up on these things more than once is really important because it is, there's guys making a lot of money because they're really good at not hitting, but like playing the body and being physical and things like that down the road. You can make junior teams because of it. You can make, so there's ways to get better at it, and it's going to take more than 50 minutes.
100%. And I think for a lot of the hockey businesses out there, this is something to if you don't do this right now, this is a great way to make a little bit extra revenue and having these contact camps or whatever. And I think the fix for this, unfortunately for Hockey Canada or USA Hockey is start implementing at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, not body checking at all, but body positioning. You're allowed to rub out along the boards as you get older, and then you're allowed to, you know what I mean? But and I think it's got to be a mandate for coaches to teach players how to use their body and body position on players and have light contact, protect pucks, things like that. And put these kids in situations like that because, man, kids are allowed right now to play with their head down, for the most part, right? They're not going to get hit all the way up till they're 12, 13. And then all of a sudden it's oh, now I get it because you get your bell rung or, you get hit. And so I think we need to do a better job as coaches to start implementing a little bit of light contact or make kids aware of it at a younger age and have it as part of the rules or whatever, however we end up working it in. I don't think it'd be hard. I don't think it'd be hard for refs to be a little bit of contact along the wall is fine, or a little bit of hitting and pinning is fine on the boards. But you can't run guys. You can't have open ice hits. You can't, you know what I mean? There's no open ice contact. That's a roughing penalty or a charging penalty, or just like it is now. But you are allowed to rub along the boards and play body or take your guys' hands away by getting in front of them and, starting that way. And then kids got to keep their head up a little bit. And, I don't know. I think it'd be safer, and we're always worried about concussions and kids getting hurt and kids leaving the game early. And I think this is a way to kind of negate that a little bit, make kids more confident because, man, it's hard on these kids when they go to tryouts and they're trying to impress, they're trying to play well, and now all of a sudden there's body contact. And
totally. And on top of that, everyone's teaching how to hit. Well, you got to focus on taking the hit first.
Yeah.
That's the person that's generally getting hurt.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? So the check-in clinics should be just as much about how to take that hit, whether it's from the side, whether the guy's going forward, whether the player's going backwards, or they're from in front of you, whatever it is. But that is every bit as important. And those are things you can teach at those younger age groups. Whether, you know what I mean? You're going to get bumped. You're going to get kids that run into you because they don't stop or they're skating with their head down and they hit you. And so there's ways to do that. Like you're talking about when you're younger, about teaching contact, whether it's accidental or whatever, and how to have your hands up when you're, you know what I mean? If you know it's coming, so that you're not going to the boards or not staying in a bad position, getting far enough away from the boards or close to the boards, things like that. And those are every bit as important and are way more than just contact. They're just good hockey skills to know how to work the wall and things like that. But there's definitely a way to implement those skills, like you keep saying, into Pee-wee and even before that. Yeah. And they can go a long way.
No, totally. I think that's massive. And I think the other thing too is for a lot of coaches, especially with young kids, is teach them at young ages about on ice awareness, right? Like we talk about that with evasiveness a lot and being deceptive, but teach them where they are on the ice. Teach them how to shoulder check, how to scan the ice, how to take pictures, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But teach them how to keep their head up when they're stick handling and looking side to side, not just in front of them or down at the puck. And man, the more aware they are on the ice, the easier it's going to be when they get to contact and knowing where players are and stuff. I think that is massive. So, focusing on that is a big piece of it. And I think a lot of us as coaches, especially the young kids, can do a lot of that at young ages, and then they're way better set for when they do get a little bit older and play in those contact situations for sure.
What's your? I don't know if we ever talked about this before, and maybe this is too heavy to get into, but I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I was Pee-wee when hitting started.
Yeah, it was
way
earlier.
You?
Yeah, I was the same.
I think I was Pee-wee, and then it got bumped up. What, maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was way. Yeah.
What's your opinion on?
I think it was stupid. It was totally what happened was concussions were becoming a huge hot topic, and Hockey Canada just knee jerked it and said, hitting's moved up 2 years, and just no one can hit until they're in Bantam now, which is 13 or whatever that was, and it just knee jerked it. There was not a lot of I don't feel, and maybe someone can explain this to me better, but and I've asked the question even at Hockey Can, like, what happened, man? Because like it just went boom, 1 year to the next. You know what I mean? And it was just a way to like appease everybody, I think, and really handle the concussion issue. But I feel like even at that point, I feel like that's fine if you want to take out full ice contact, no problem. But then why was there not like a progression to lead it? Like now you have an opportunity to take it out in Pee Wee, let's say at 10, 11, 12. Why not have a progression at age 10, age 11, age 12, and then full contact at age 17?
I agree. And there has to be a way to do it. I mean, look at women's hockey, you know, especially the high level. It's physical.
Oh yeah. Big
it's
time.
very physical.
Yeah.
Now, no open ice hits and things like that, but it's super physical. So there's got to be a way to call Pee Wee games like that.
For sure.
Where if you're on the boards in a one-on-one battle, I can, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
bump you, or if I'm angling you, I can rub you out. But you can't, like you said, lay people out and open ice. And there's got to be a way to do that. And to your point, like how much more aware are kids going to be at that age when they're getting bumped?
Yeah.
But they're making mistakes, you know, with their head down getting bumped as opposed to getting hit at bantam. At bantam, you're getting into like, sometimes you can have this in Pee Wee too, but you got kids growing sometimes way before other kids, and you're potentially getting into puberty. You're getting 30, 40, 50 pound gaps, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches sometimes. And you can do that at Pee Wee, don't get me wrong, but there's more of it at that age where some people just haven't hit that growth spurt and some have. So and it's more dangerous for those, for some of those. And I'm not, in some cases, it's the bigger kids. I'm not saying like, oh, the small kids are at risk.
No, totally.
No, the big kids are in tough too. Whether they're getting knocked over because they're taller and off balance, or they're taking more penalties because they're taller and they're hitting everyone in the head. Like, you know, they can get used to those things at a younger age. But I think I was the same way. I think it was silly to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe talking to someone, you know, because I've never had that conversation, someone could change my mind, but it's been a long time and hasn't been talked about in a while, but I just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like by that age, kids are so ready to just like run each other.
Yeah.
And in Pee Wee, they want, most want to score goals,
No,
just
you're
score goals, and like, you know what I mean?
sure.
But they're so amped up by minor bantam that it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to show everyone how physical I am in some cases. Like it's creating like this bubble that's almost bursting sometimes.
No, I totally agree with that. And I think we'll kind of kill it there, but I think it is such an important skill to the game, right? Especially as you play at a high level, whether it's junior or college, whatever. And you gotta get good at it. And man, we both played with guys that still sucked at hitting in like college. You know what I mean?
You're looking at them.
Right. So like, I think the more you can learn about it, and I was never taught how to hit. You just figured it out. Right. So now I think we can teach kids how to do this and protect them more than anything. If that's the number one thing, perfect. Let's protect our kids, and if they get good at it, great. And if they can take a hit and learn how to absorb, learn how to spin, learn how to get away from stuff, that's awesome, you know? And even at the NHL level, you look at guys like Marner or Goudreau, these guys that maybe aren't that big, crazy good players, play a ton of ice time, and you don't see them get blown up by guys. Like, they're smart, they're aware, their on-ice awareness is unreal. So they're able to get away from hits, they're able to spin off hits, they're able to avoid those situations, you know? So I think, there's a lot there for parents and coaches to kind of work on with their kids for sure. One thing I wanted to touch on too is kind of those junior age kids. So the kids going into like, you know, junior hockey, OHL, things like that, and our NHL guys and pro guys. I found this summer like way more of a buzz and everyone excited to go back and like kind of have a normal season. Like a lot of the guys didn't play last year. Like the OHL guys didn't play at all, which is unfortunate. Some junior guys got some games in, but anywhere from like 10, 12 to 20, like not a lot. College, same thing. A lot of them didn't play at all or minimal games. NHL was all chopped up in a weird year with the playoffs, and then obviously the new season and playoffs running into the summer a little bit. So I feel like guys are pumped to like just get back and hopefully have like a normal season. But how have you found the vibe this summer with the guys?
Exactly the same, and we've talked about it. But like, I think it's really, just overall excitement of like having something to look forward to, especially for the junior guys. A bit different because they're just looking forward to playing and whatever. And they've been doing like stuff with us and other people like skill skates forever. Man. Like how and it wasn't their fault. We're like, you know, hey, how was your set? Like last January, like, hey, how was your session with the guys? Like, they were so checked out. They've been doing this now at that, like for 6-7 months at that time. Like, this isn't what they want to do. You know, it's not their fault. They're not dialed in. But then almost like once things got announced, like it was happening, things were coming back. Guys started getting dialed again, and we're excited to be on the ice and like really kind of hammer down on skills and then just excited to be at the rink with the guys. Totally. And all the way up, I would have said if you would have told me that, like, oh, hey, the OHL guys are so excited, but the NHL guys will probably just be, kind of normal, I'd have been like, yeah, that makes sense. But it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
They seemed, because even though they did play, like you said, it was different, even with travel, and they were playing the same 6 teams all year. And I think they're just excited to be able to hopefully have a, in quotations, normal year and get back to what they signed up for.
Totally. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was fun. It was really good. Because you're right, man. Like, felt bad for these guys. Like, it was over a year of just skill skates and some scrimmages here and there when we were allowed to. Like, awful, right? So now I think everyone's kind of amped up and pumped to get going again, which is awesome. So it really made for a fun summer, like a more motivating summer for these guys.
Especially because it felt like it was kind of compact.
Yeah.
And packed in, you know what I mean? Yeah. Guys were maybe skating a little bit more frequently each week. And it went by fast.
Totally, man. No, definitely.
Even with those guys that you said we got on the ice middle of June or whenever it was, but those couple months still went by super fast, like those 2 months.
No, for sure. And then leading into the season here, I guess the news I have is I ended up taking a job with the Detroit Red Wings, which obviously you're well aware of, but I haven't really said it publicly at all with anybody, but which is crazy and like super overwhelming and
awesome.
Congrats. Yeah. No, thanks, man. Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, the crazy part about this whole thing is I'm gonna end up moving to Detroit, and I'm moving my family and myself and my family, my 2 kids to Detroit in 2 days. So
listen, I know I got the story. So, but I kind of, you were telling me about it as it was happening, but like, how did it happen? Because
I think for anybody, like, so basically, as people know, just through the podcast and stuff, I worked with Washington for 5 years. It was awesome. It was great. And the one thing with Washington that was kind of like bittersweet that I liked was I was I was on my own a little bit as far as doing development with like the prospects and with Hershey. And so I was just going in there working with Hershey. And then the last 2 years I was doing more stuff with Washington and Hershey, which was awesome. But again, just flying in, flying out. And then the last year I was there before COVID, they ended up hiring Brooks Orpik and Jim Slater, who were awesome. So we kind of had starting like a little bit of a development team, which is great. And it was really fun. And like, it was good to have other guys bounce things off of. Sometimes we'd be in Hershey together. So we'd work together. It was great. And I love that. Like, that's what I wanted, is kind of be part of a development team and stuff like that. COVID hit, things changed. I don't get renewed with Washington. That's fine. And then I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know if I'm going to pursue it again right now. My kids are young, whatever. And then fast forward to kind of this summer, Brendan Naurato, who's been on the podcast before, great interview if you haven't checked it out, but he's a great skills guy. He was with Detroit, lives in Detroit. And
he's a great resource. If you're looking for good stuff.
Just a good dude. And gets the game and just, really, I love his kind of take on stuff. But anyways, he was the skills coach for Detroit and kind of started off kind of volunteer kind of guy did, or like, baby steps. And then he was basically their full-time guy with Grand Rapids, their AHL team, and then Detroit. So he had called me, him and I always kept in touch and talked shop and, always nerded out on hockey talk and stuff like that. And we were just chatting in the summer and he's like, hey, would you be interested in coming in and maybe kind of, or interviewing and maybe be able to come in and help out like part-time? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm not looking for anything full-time. Like, that'd be great. And then in that time, Naurato ended up getting hired by Michigan where he played. So as an assistant coach, he kind of want to get more on the coaching side of hockey rather than the skill side. He'll still do skills and he's great at it, but he wanted to kind of pursue coaching. So anyways, gets a job in Michigan. And then I get a call from Detroit asking, if I'd be interested in like potentially doing skills for Detroit and for Grand Rapids. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And originally it was like, I'd be able to travel like I was with Washington. I live in London and kind of go back and forth, and it's not very far. So that would work out great. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome, man. It's like, I'm, and so as we went down the process, there was other guys and girls that they were interviewing and I knew that. But then I got shortlisted, I guess, and kind of became, one of a couple people that they were kind of finally interviewing. And by the end of it, they're like, we'd like you here every day. Like, and I strongly believe that the best way to add development to the NHL level and the AHL level is have someone close that can be there a couple times a week or more often, that can work with the team or work with young prospects or, whatever. So I've always said that. So when they actually said, hey, listen, we'd like you to move here and be here every day, I was like, oh man.
You didn't want to admit it. But
basically call my bluff. Yeah.
No doubt.
I was like,
yeah, this is the right thing.
Yeah, totally. And then in the back of my mind, I talked to you about this a lot too, but I was like, there's a lot to think about, right? There's our business here. We have a house here. My kids go to school here. My wife's got a really good job here. There's a lot of things that went through my mind, but it was like, man, this is a pretty cool opportunity with a team that has a development team already that checks a lot of those boxes that I was really excited about.
Trending the right way.
Yeah, it's a young team who's got a lot of good prospects who really believe in skill development, really believe in trying to develop in-house. I was like, man, it's a pretty cool opportunity. So talked to my wife about it, and Jenna was awesome, and she ended up working it out with work, and we're like, she's the one who said, yeah, let's do it. Like, it'll be an adventure for a year, and we'll do it for a year and see how it goes. So as of right now, we're going to go down there for the year and do the whole, obviously do the whole year and see how it goes. My big thing is I just want to make sure my kids and my wife are good and enjoy it down there. I think I'll be fine. Like I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, but if they like it, then we'll kind of go from there and see how it goes. But yeah, it's exciting, and I feel good about everything here. We got a good crew, guys and girls up here that are, kind of taking over the day to day here, which is great. But yeah, so that'll be some different stuff. So you and I kind of talked about it, but it would be cool to keep checking in with you guys, see how things are going here with the academies and obviously with the skill development stuff like that, and then see what it's like kind of on the inside of skill development, the NHL level, and kind of what we're doing day to day and things like that. But yeah, something that we'll try to inform the people about and coaches about and players about for sure.
It's funny. You do this now, and you've done this whenever we talk about it. You almost talk about it sheepishly. Like, I don't know if you can hear that, but like if you were sitting in front of Dwayne right now, it's like, oh yeah, bottom line is it's pretty sweet. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have some really good things here in the summer, work with some really, obviously some good players. And then during the year, we work with everybody and so have a pretty good setup here. But like you're talking about working with the best players in the world every day. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely.
Everybody here, and I'm sure everybody listening is saying congrats, and it's probably long overdue. So
I appreciate that. And even when I told the guys, like because I wanted to tell the guys we work with here, and we got some legit NHLers and stuff. So I told the boys and like the consensus on everybody was like, man, congrats. That's awesome. And what I told them is I'm like, I love what I do here. And if this never worked out, it's fine. I'm very happy here. Like, this is great. But I said, man, I get a chance to like work with you guys every day, and that's like, whether it's AHL, NHL, whatever, doesn't matter. But I'm like, that's kind of cool too. I don't mind. I love working with the young kids. I love working with minor hockey, but it's kind of cool that, I get a chance to be like around you guys every day.
And those guys get it because they will, and some of them look at it differently because some of them go to their teams and they have a guy like they like you in the summer. Then they have a guy like you during the year as well, which is awesome. And others don't.
Yeah.
Others have a guy, whether they train here or they're visiting here or whatever, and they have an awesome place here. And then they go and they're like, okay, I guess I work on my, because I know it's probably not right to say, but like some of the teams don't do anything.
Yeah.
And when I said like Detroit's trending the right way, I didn't mean like, oh, they're winning a cup in 3 years. Like, I have no idea, but they seem to be doing, things the right way. And obviously better than I do, but they're really big on development and they're having the right people around and creating a bit of a family. So how would you not want to be a part of that?
Yeah. And it was like one thing too, like, obviously I grew up watching Steve Yzerman, like, and like probably one of my top 5 players like that I love, just as far as a player and, just respect his like leadership. And as you get older, you kind of see like what they want and what they did and the culture they had there. And it's like, man, that's pretty sick, And then, so when one of the interviews I was on, he was on obviously the call, and it was, a bunch of ex-NHL guys and stuff and that are part of this, part of Detroit. And so, but it's just like, it's on a Zoom call, so you're not face to face, but even just like the questions he asks, the presence he has, it was cool. And it's anything I've heard about the Detroit or talked to anybody about, it's like they're building a culture there. And that's, to me, man, whether it's minor hockey, whether it's college hockey, junior hockey, whatever it is, that culture to me is the biggest thing, man. You can have all the skill in the world, but if guys are on different team or different pages and stuff, girls aren't playing together, it's a mess. And if you can build that culture within, and I think it starts from the top, whether it's management, coaches, if it's minor hockey, it's going to be your coaching staff, and you build that culture, and then you get, players to kind of fall in line with that and buy into it, and you get rid of the players that don't fall in line with that. And sometimes those are hard decisions to make, especially in minor hockey. You might cut a kid that is a really good player, and maybe he's your second line center, but he just does not fit in. He's selfish, or she doesn't play with the team or whatever. But,
And I don't mean this to come across sounding whatever, confident, cocky, whatever, but like I remember the first time we sat down and I was like just finishing playing, and I used to work summer camps for you, and you were like, oh, do you want to think about sticking around here? And that's exactly what you said to me. Like, we're trying to create, so coincidentally, that's how you are. I think that's why you relate to like what they were offering you more than just a job.
Totally. Yeah. I know.
You know what I mean? It was like whatever, call it a lifestyle, call it like that whatever they're building there, that's what you built here. And have, you know, because we've had guys come in that were really good that stuck around or maybe didn't fit in as you know, and didn't stick around for too long, whatever. And you created that same culture here, and that's the same thing that I'm gonna try to keep doing. Not me without you. Like,
no, 100%, man.
That'll be a whole nother conversation. Like,
no,
you're
I'm
not
also,
taking off. You're not going to be like, not physically be around as much, but you're not just see you later. Good luck. But we're going to keep building that same thing here, which I think you've done a good job over. I don't even know. I don't even want to guess how many years.
Yeah, it's probably been like 16 years now. But I think the big thing with that too is like, it's trial and error too. I think for anybody who runs a company or runs a business or runs a team or whatever that is, whether you're a manager, there's people that we've hired that just didn't fit, and you just weed them out and let them go, you know. And sometimes those are tough ones because they're good people or they're, you know, but man, sometimes they're good for the first couple of years and then it's not so good after. And you're like, this is more poison than power. So we got to like cut ties a little bit, you know. And I think that's something that's not an easy part of it, and then you bring in good people and then you, like, you know, I've always enjoyed coming to work, you know, like I've always enjoyed hanging out with the guys and the girls, and even from our staff that are just part-time, that are going to school, that come in the summers, like they're awesome. They're great. You can sit and have a coffee with them and talk shop. And like, so you're right. And I think that's something that is important. And to me, that's, you know, the other thing too is like, this was never a zero financial decision. Like, we're taking as a family. I just want to be clear, like someone on the coaching staff or doing what I do, like we're not making a bag like the NHL guys are making, you know. And so, and my wife can't work there. And so like, there's a lot of different things that we thought about that. It's not about the money. It's about the experience. It's about, this is a whole new thing. Maybe it'll parlay into more things. Who knows? But it's like, man, let's just take a bit of a leap here and try it out. You know what I mean? And not get any younger, obviously. So, you know, it's definitely like, comfort wise, probably not like the smartest thing in the world to do at the age, you know, looking at maybe like retiring in 10, 15 years. And like, maybe this isn't the best time to do this, but when, if not now, when, right? So screw it. Let's try it and see. And if it sucks, and then I just go live with my parents up in Sudbury.
And if it doesn't work, you can submit an application here. And we'll let you know.
Okay. I'll be checking ZipRecruiter, make sure I see what you guys post for my job.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I've already been packing your boxes. No, we're on a totally non on ice or hockey perspective. It's like you said, like you just like, you know, we go on the ice in the morning, we come back, we have a coffee, go on our computers, watch the highlights, like kind of nerd out, like you always say, and that's gonna be on aside from just losing the you on the ice, man. Like having a guy around here, but we've added some other pieces, and we're gonna have some other guys step up, and I'm also excited at the same time, not to have you gone, but like 100%. Excited for what's coming, and kind of how we're progressing with how hockey, you know, we're making changes that the way hockey's moving, and I'm excited for where we're going too.
And I'm pumped too. Me getting away and like giving you, like, you know, you have an opportunity to kind of, this is your baby now, as far as, you know, we talked about this too, like if you want to create new programs or change names and stuff or do different things, like go ahead, you have free reign of doing whatever you want. I think, you know, for me as an owner or whatever, I think that's part of, and I've learned this like along the way, but like giving things up and not having control. It's not easy to do. It's really, really hard. But when you have the right people in place, and I've started to do this with a bunch of our employees, as far as giving them more stuff to do and taking it off my plate. I'm excited to see, you know, kind of how and where and what happens kind of moving forward. But I agree with you. We have a good crew. We've brought on some good people, and I think it'll be, I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen, you know. I think I'll go through some growing pains in Detroit for sure, and some learning things, and different, you know, obviously it'll be a very, very different environment day to day for me than what I'm used to here. But yeah, I'm excited, and I think it'll be.
Selfishly, I'm totally excited about like hearing about what those guys are doing on a day to day level. Like, you know what I mean? Not that you're out of touch, and you kind of know, and you got your finger on that pulse anyway, because you work with those guys every day in the summer. But I'm excited to see what they're doing on a day to day, and how they're, you know what I mean, how they handle it. And I'm sure Steve Yzerman has some probably ideas that maybe we haven't thought of, or probably one or two. Yeah. So, and you being able to pass that down to us and see how we can work it with our players and get our players work, just like we were talking about checking clinics and starting them young so that they're, you know, ready for that when they get to that level. What are they doing in the NHL? Take these high level kids and start them slow. And this is, if you want to play, you got to start doing these things. And
one thing I noticed too, like even when I was in Washington and like hanging out with the NHL coaches and HL coaches and stuff, like we focus a lot on skill development and not so much on systems or power plays or penalty kills. But when you're at that level, they focus a lot on power play, penalty kill systems, right? So I really, and I've got a lot to learn. Like I'm always learning and I love that. But it's really fun to be around that environment too, because then you're learning a lot more about systems, how they're attacking, and then the way our brains work a little bit differently. When we see a system and stuff, it's fine. We can pick a system out, we can see what's going on, but how do the skills affect that system, right? If a guy can't make a pass or a guy is really bad on his backhand, well, we got to work on that. Or he can't pick up a puck on the wall on a breakout, and one of the plays on a face-off play is a rim. Well, we got to work on that rim, and we got to work on that picking up that puck on the wall. So as a skills coach, you're kind of looking at the skill, those skill pieces within that system, and trying to help these guys get better. And then looking at players and what they're good at, what they're not good at. Like some players, for instance, like a fast player, I'm thinking of a guy right now in my mind, but a real fast player. Well, can I go in and maybe help him identify that, man, if he changes his speed a little bit more, he's going to be able to throw D off and defenders off and be able, more dangerous, right? Rather than just going 100 miles an hour all the time. So I'm always excited about that stuff and like how you can, help players out, how you can help the whole team out by just like individual skills. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second I'm going to go in there and we're going to be a better team just because I'm like tweaking everyone. Yeah, it's like look at Detroit, they're making backhand sauces from everywhere. Like no, but it's all part of it. It's all part of it. And most teams, like you said, some teams still don't have skill coaches or full-time skill coaches. Most teams are starting to trend that way, no doubt. But it is becoming more part of it, just like a goalie coach, like you got your face-off specialists, you've got your power play guys and PK players and PK coaches and stuff. But it'll be really, really cool to be kind of part of it and be kind of a rookie on that coaching staff, obviously, and just being a bit of a fly on the wall at times and learning, right, which would be cool. So
wow, we're excited for you.
Appreciate it, man.
And nervous.
Yeah. I think everyone's nervous.
I don't know how you feel.
Well, the fact that I'm like going there in 2 days and I don't even have a place to stay right now, it's going to be great. I'm bringing my family and luggage and so we don't have a place till like middle to end of September. So we're going to have to Airbnb it or hotel it for.
You don't even have that yet.
Don't even have that figured out yet. So we're just working on this. It's logistics, no big deal, right? Okay. So hopefully today.
Yeah, but it's okay because you're like 25 years single guy, no wife and kids, so you can just live anywhere. No,
exactly.
That's not it.
I'm gonna couch surf for the first little bit with 2 kids and a wife. It's gonna be great.
Totally.
Yeah. But kind of, I guess moving forward for everybody out there, obviously best of luck with tryouts are coming up. We're kind of end of August now and tryouts are coming up. One thing I wanted to mention too real quick on the sidebar, but we were talking about like getting guys that are like culture and similar, like just so people know, like Kevin and I came in this morning at like 6 a.m. because it's a Friday. We got a couple sessions this morning with some NHL guys and a scrimmage and things like that. And it's kind of a bit of a busy morning. And then I've got a bunch of stuff to do, obviously to get prepared. But so I'm like, hey, do you mind like coming in early tomorrow? Because we could not find time to get a pod in. And he's like, yeah, let's do it, man. But that's like, again, getting people that aren't the same, but like-minded. Like if I told you, hey, we got to get up at 5 o'clock to go golfing, like 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, we got like a scrimmage game tomorrow. Like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? So finding guys and girls that are like, I'm in, let's go. That is awesome as well. So I appreciate you getting up early this morning to come in and, it was great to kind of get back on it. And this is something too that I'm hoping that when I get to Detroit, I'll be able to like keep this up. Obviously I really, really want to, and get some new guests out that way and talk to some different people out and kind of in the US of A.
Mm-hmm. So, I think actually what you were just saying is sorry, Nicole, for as I'm walking out the door, the baby, I can hear the baby waking up and I'm like, see you later.
Yeah. Tiptoe out before the baby wakes up for sure. Yeah. So sorry, Nicole, about that. But,
no, it was, this is good, man. And I know you mentioned this quick, but we're going to try to, we always normally once a month or whenever we got to have something to talk about, we jump on here, but we're going to try to keep that going.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Even do some fun things. If people have some questions about, things that are going on up there or here, then send them in to us on our emails or social media, and we'll try to.
Even those lives we were doing for a bit, like during lockdown, it'd be fun to do those again once in a while, just even once a month or twice a month, and just like be able to talk to the boys live. And I'm just dropping a nugget here, but I'm going to get him on. But Mitch Stewart, our head strength coach, who's been on the pod a bunch of times, who's been awesome. He's on all the lives with me and stuff. But he got plucked by the Arizona Coyotes. So he just flew out yesterday, and he's going to be living in Arizona for a year or 2 or maybe 3. But he'll be working with the NHL club there as their strength coach. So at the end of the day, like kind of bittersweet because we all were losing myself or losing Mitch, which, is always tough. I think we got a great crew of people here that are going to pick up that pick up all that stuff. But it's obviously pretty cool that two of us got kind of NHL opportunities this year, which is great. So we wish Mitch the best of luck, obviously, and I think he's going to do some great things with Arizona, and a long time coming for him too, which is a really, really cool opportunity for him. So. Yeah, but even getting him on as well and chatting a little bit about how it is on because I've talked to strength coaches and worked with strength coaches a ton at the NHL level, but to hear from him, who we know really well, like what the day to day like, what the grind's like, stuff like that. It'll be cool.
I'm interested.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
even like how different it is for you. It's different for you to work with these guys in July and what they're doing versus like the 15 minutes before practice. Totally, they're coming into 3 games, like whatever it is, and for him, I'm sure there'll be some cool things about how he has had to do things differently, because now he's working in season is much different than you know what I mean, adding weight, taking off weight, adding speed, whatever somebody's plan is in the summer. It'll be very, very cool.
Yeah,
very, very
for
neat.
sure,
Some
man.
good stuff in there.
Yeah, so some cool stuff kind of down the pipe here with Behind the Gear and Total Package Hockey and NSDA. So we'll see how everything goes, and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, we wish you the best, man. Good luck. Thanks for everything.
All right. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. Thanks for coming, Kevy. To kind of raise that bar.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.